welcome back to today's episode of the 25 Minutes. On today's episode, we'll be talking to the friends and family of, as well as the man himself, Arthur Miller. Welcome in, sir. Woo! Woo!
Thank you for having me today. I'm honored to be a guest on your show.
Well, we are so incredibly honored to have you, Mr. Miller. To start, would you mind telling us a little bit about your childhood?
Of course. I was born in Harlem, New York on October 17th, 1915. I was raised around two siblings, Joan and Kermit, and my parents were also around for my childhood.
And would you say, thinking back to your early years, that there were any contributing factors from your childhood that contributed to your passion for writing?
Yes, I would say there definitely was an influence on my creativity that came from being surrounded by the different creative outlets in Harlem.
Ah, yes. The wonderful jazz music of the Harlem Renaissance. What a time. Skipping ahead, tell us a little bit about your high school and college years.
Well, I attended high school in Brooklyn as the Depression had quite negative effects on the family and forced us to move, and I later attended university at Michigan University, where I majored in journalism. I worked several jobs aside from writing, like that time I worked in an automobile parts warehouse, which reminds me that it was in university that I wrote my first play, The Man with All the Luck, actually.
Oh, so you've lived quite a diverse life, huh? Now, if I may briefly ask you a question, Mr. Miller, could you tell me a bit about your experience with the House of Un-American Activities?
Well, I was brought to court by the HUA, which claims that I was aware of other authors that held communistic belief or had sympathies to communism, so they later charged me with contempt of Congress. Some may say similar themes are seen in some of my other plays, but that is for reader interpretation.
Well, that is certainly quite the experience to be dealing with while climbing to fame. Around how many plays have you officially written, Mr. Miller?
Right around 30 plays, give or take.
Right, so you've had your fair share of writing over the years. And if you had to say a few words on playwriting, what would you tell us?
Well, to keep it short, I would just say that I strongly believe that theater can positively change the world, but only if consumers allow said change.
Inspiring words, Mr. Miller. Well, that is all I have for you today, sir. Thank you for your time, Mr. Miller. It has certainly been a pleasure.
And the same
Welcome back to Silent Perspectives, where two film connoisseurs discuss and break down an old silent film after watching it.
And I must say, tonight we have quite the moving piece. The play The Crucible by Arthur Miller is set in colonial America during the Salem witch trials.
And like many of Miller's other plays, it features a tragic end to the main character, ties into Miller's life, as well as the overarching theme of reputation.
While watching, I did notice quite a few things that seem to be found across the majority of Miller's plays, especially the end to John Proctor.
I think we should start by discussing how Miller's life connects to this play, and how much inspiration he took from the world around him when writing it.
To set the stage of Miller's life at the time, we can't forget about the most talked about political story of the period, the Red Scare.
The Red Scare was a continuation of the fears of communism that led to the formation of the House Un-American Activities Committee in 1938, and the panic was worsened when Senator Joseph McCartney claimed there were over 200 communists working in the State Department.
The panic spread to the entertainment industry, where many artists were already labeled as communist sympathizers, and during the Red Scare, many were blacklisted from Hollywood.
When someone was accused of being a communist, their own reputation was ruined, and it would be near impossible for them to regain the position they once had.
Miller was one of those people, so Miller left Hollywood and contracted his writing efforts on Broadway, where the effort of blacklisting were minimized.
Miller wrote The Crucible as a not-so-subtle criticism of McCarthyism and the effects it had on the American experience, with the witch accusations in the play symbolizing the often baseless accusations of communism within government and Hollywood.
Now, we have a rough idea of what Miller and America were going through at the time, but can we get into the parallels of the themes of the play?
Like I mentioned earlier, in The Crucible, Arthur Miller focuses on the theme of reputation heavily and goes much deeper with the idea, showing the readers through the plot and characters how the desperate attempts to repair one's reputation leads to a destructive and lethal American experience.
Of course. And when talking about deadly consequences of reputation, the first place to start is with Abigail. She's the one who started the witch trials, and she does it not only to protect herself, but build a stronger reputation, as it was tarnished when she was fired from the Proctor's house. By telling the court who the witches are, she is now able to give a saint-like reputation, and with that, endless respect and power.
You're completely right. Abigail's pursuit of a better reputation led to many innocent deaths and the complete collapse of the justice system in Salem. In addition, in the end, she only put herself in a worse situation by having to flee the town and eventually becoming a prostitute. It really goes to show how by being willing to do anything to create a better reputation, an individual is only making their lives and the American experience as a whole miserable.
Well, Abigail is a great place to start. She's not the only character Arthur Miller used to show tragedy that comes with pursuing reputation. John Proctor has not lost his reputation to the town like Abigail, but lost his reputation with his wife and himself after his affair with Abigail. Throughout the play, he struggles with the past actions and struggles to repair his honor. But as stated by Gillard, the farmer reincarnates himself by finally refusing to cooperate with the Salem witch hunts, despite their hold on his life, and by asserting his individuality in hope of odds, finally contextualizes of the consequences. Proctor recovers his lost dignity, and once again, his wife respects him.
It is also important to remember that despite his reputation being intact once again, much like with Abigail, this comes at a high price when Proctor is executed. John Proctor's character, along with Abigail, show how attempting to repair one's reputation, whether with good intentions or not, lead to the suffering of oneself and innocents around them. Thank you for watching.
That's all. Calling all producers and playwrights! Have you ever wanted to take your production to the next level? Have your play be shown abroad? You can expose your work to many new audiences and become eligible for international acclaim. Are you worried about how your show will be received in a foreign country? Renowned playwright Arthur Miller has had great success producing his works around the world. He has performed in the Netherlands, Spain, England, France, and even the Soviet Union. In his essay entitled Global Dramatist, he notes how the dilemmas of his characters turn out to be quite familiar elsewhere, and notes how the dramatic arts can transcend cultures and increase awareness of global issues. It helps spark minds and display the struggles of the American experience in a creative medium. So, why delay? Enrich the lives of others and have your message be heard worldwide with Global Productions. What are you doing home from work so early?
I haven't been able to sell anything today. Plus, on the way home, I almost crashed my car again. I think I'm just being really distracted lately.
Why don't you talk to your boss about getting that job in New York? That one that's the desk job, so you won't have to drive around all the time. I'm sure you'll get it. You're amazing.
I'll see if I can talk to my boss about it. Oh, hi, boys. I'm happy you're home now. Though you know I would be happier if you stopped working at that farm and got a real job.
I know, Dad. I know.
I'm gonna go to bed now, guys. Wash the engine good, Biff. It's an important car. Keep track of it. You need to be careful with all the girls. Treat them nice. You need to take care of school. It's very important for your future. I got a present for you boys. I know you'll love it. I wish I could have gone to Africa with you, Ben. I got you boys a punching bag. Yeah, put the newspapers on the windows, just like that, Abby. You can't steal that ball, Biff. Bring it back. I'll be better than Charlie. I know it. Biff will flunk math? Help him cheat?
I'd love to go with you sometime, Pop.
It's a punching bag.
69 is due for the washing machine,
Stop.
and the roof is also leaking.
Stop.
You make me laugh. Oh, Willie.
He's too rough with the girls.
Stop talking.
All the mothers.
Didn't you notice I lost weight, Pop?
Shut up.
Mr. Birnbaum says he's stuck up.
Stop.
If he doesn't buckle down, he will flunk math.
He's right, Billy. You gotta. I think you're the handsomest man.
Stop talking. Stop talking. Get out of my head. Stop. Shut up. Shut
Billy,
up.
are you okay?
Shut up!
Mom, what's wrong with Dad? I don't know. I think it might have something to do with he thinks you're a loser, but I don't know what to do anymore. Can you please just make up with him and stop hating him?
Never said I hated him.
Your father is losing it. He isn't making salary anymore. He's borrowing money from Charlie, and he's been trying to kill himself. He keeps crashing the car over and over again. And the other night, I found this tube. He's trying to asphyxiate himself in the basement. Please just make up with your father.
Okay. Dad, I'm gonna ask my old boss for a loan to run my own sports store with Happy.
That's like a great idea. I think I'm gonna ask my boss for the job in New York too.
This is great.
Boss, my sales job has been adding a lot of stress in my life. I was thinking I could get a desk job, maybe a job in New York.
No, you haven't been making any sales lately. You're fired.
You know what? And your wife. Boys, I got fired from my job today, but it's alright because you had your meeting and it went really well, didn't it?
No, Dad, I never even met with the guy.
Yeah, it's whatever. It went well. You're gonna have another meeting with him tomorrow. It'll all be alright. We'll get money.
Let's just go, Happy.
Okay, we ready?
Oh, Willie. Oh.
Dad, I failed my math test. Dad, what are you doing?
Biff!
Ready? I can't believe you two left your father there. He could have gotten lost or hurt. You know what? Just leave. I don't want you here anymore.
Fine, but first I have to talk to
I don't have anything to live for anymore. I don't know if I should go through with this because I don't know how to set my boys up for success in the future.
I'm your dead brother, Ben. Remember, you have life insurance.
It's a good one.
You know, Dad, I've never been anything, but neither have you.
Remember the $20,000 in life insurance.
You know what? You had the right dream, Pop. I want to be a great salesman like you.
You had the wrong dream, Pop. I'm gonna do what I love.
I just didn't understand that. Let me YouTube it.
What's up, viewers, and welcome back to another English literature analysis lesson. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing one of Arthur Miller's most popular plays, Death of a Salesman. Today, we will be covering the various themes and the relevance of the American experience rather than the plot and summary of the play. If you'd like to learn more about the plot of the play, watch last week's video for more information.
If you're watching this video, you may already know that the play focuses on Willie Loman, a struggling businessman, and his family, which consists of his wife, Linda, and two sons, Biff and Happy. While the play may appear to some as the basic demise of a man who is discontent with his success as a businessman, it is much more complex. The play features different themes, the incorporation of the American experience, and American exceptionalism, and both of these further the depth of the play.
Starting with theme, the main theme of the play is known to be the importance of reputation. Similar to many of Miller's other plays, reputation is an important concept to Willie Loman, as well as the other various main characters found in different plays with the same theme.
Reputation is notably very important to Willie Loman. Willie is obsessed with the idea of having a respectable reputation in the business world. He lives off the fundamentals of being well-liked and successful. However, due to the competitiveness of the business world, Willie is unable to thrive in the business community and does not achieve his dream of being a well-respected businessman. Due to his failure, Willie is driven to madness as he continues to push himself to become a well-reputed businessman.
Willie further pushes his children to have the same mindset as his own. One of his children, Happy, does follow in Willie's footsteps and becomes a businessman in an attempt to become successful and make his father proud. However, he follows a bit too closely in his father's steps and fails to become successful, further failing to ever maintain a good reputation in the eyes of his father. Willie's other son, Biff, however, does not maintain the same morals as his father, causing a rift to form between the father and son. Biff prioritizes his happiness over his reputation, so when he goes to work on a farm rather than become a businessman, Willie lectures Biff over how his actions will affect his reputation and explains that he will never be well respected as a farmer. Through Willie's interactions with characters in the play, as well as through the development of Willie's madness as the play progresses, the idea of importance of reputation is able to cultivate.
So it's obvious that reputation is a key theme throughout the play, right? Well, we're going to further analyze how the idea of reputation plays into the American dream and experience, which were both important in 20th century English literature.
The American dream and experience are different but similar concepts. The American dream is not so much defined by one specific definition, but has various different meanings depending on one's circumstance. In Willie Loman's case, the American dream was to become a successful businessman and move up the social and economic ladder through his business work. The American experience, however, can be more easily defined as the steps one may take in order to achieve his or her American dream, such as Willie becoming a businessman and consistently pursuing in order to achieve his dreams.
So you can see how reputation was pretty important to Willie, right? And you can see how Willie's American dream, which was to be a successful businessman, was also pretty important to him? Bam! That's a connection. Miller associated Willie's American dream with his obsession to have a good reputation in the business community. While many argue that the American dream is only attainable when one is within the perfect circumstances to achieve said dream, Willie is a perfect example of this. Willie does not have the skills or tools to become a successful businessman, and so his dream of being a well-respected businessman is unattainable.
The last concept Miller incorporated was American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism is defined as a quasi-religious belief that the United States is a chosen and superior nation endowed by Providence, an illustrious example and beacon for the rest of the world. Some researchers state that these structures not only exist on a national scale, but they also trickle down to the level of the individual where Willie Loman operates. Not only must America as a nation present the image that it is an illustrious example and beacon for the rest of the world, but everyone who lives there must propagate this image by being exceptional themselves. So, with this idea, it is suggested that Willie may feel as though he needs to present himself as an exceptional being through his daily interactions so as to show his peers that he, like America, is a superior being and good example as well as a useful asset to society.
That's all we've got for you today, folks, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next week for another literary analysis.
That was very insightful.
Given the recent violent protests in Beijing for democracy, many artists and writers are commenting on the event and the surrounding political climate of China. One of these observations has been written by renowned playwright Arthur Miller, where he recounts his experience producing Death of a Salesman in China and notes the changing attitudes of the Chinese youth. In his essay on the matter, he analyzes how the arts have altered the attitudes of the Chinese students and how China is becoming more open to creative ideas, especially from other countries. However, following the events in Tiananmen Square, these ideas have been repressed, according to Miller. Government officials holding these ideals have been relieved of their duties. Despite these terrible events, Miller believes that the arts will continue to shape the minds of the Chinese youth in ways never seen before.
They're coming. Hi, come in. You must be Marco, Beatrice's Italian cousin.
I am. You must be Eddie, Beatrice's husband.
I am.
This is Rodolfo, my brother.
Hi, Marco. Hi, Rodolfo. This is Catherine, my niece.
Hi.
You need to let it go. He's a good boy for her. Plus, she's an adult.
But she's too young. She needs to be protected. I need to make sure that she's safe and won't get heartbroken.
She's a grown woman now. She can fend for herself.
But I think Rodolfo is just using her for a green card. Plus, he's obviously gay. He likes to cook and he has bleached blonde hair.
You can't always have things go the way you want. Sometimes you need to let things happen.
Eddie, stop!
What are you doing?
Hello, police? I have illegal immigrants living in my home. Come and get them. Police! Hello! Those are the immigrants.
Okay.
Wait, are we still on? Oh.
It was Eddie!
No.
Thanks for bailing us out of jail, Alfieri.
No problem. It's what I do as a lawyer. Just promise me you won't go after Eddie.
I promise, you got my word.
Rodolfo!
Will you marry me?
Of course!
Respect me and you won't go to that wedding.
I don't care, I will still go. Eddie, come and face me like a real man! Don't go. You aren't doing this for your reputation. It's already destroyed. Because you betrayed the family. You're only doing this because you're so protective of her. You might be in love with her. Alright?
Marco?
Eddie, what you gonna fight me, huh?
Yeah, I am.
Huh? Oh no, Eddie! Oh, oh, no.
Might be.
Hello, I'm Shelly Bling, and welcome to Cancellation, the hottest celebrity gossip show that focuses on failed soap operas to make me feel better about my failed acting career and my permanent ban from Chili's. Today we have a guest, Hank Fox, who played Eddie in the famous soap opera that shares its name with the play it was adapted from, A View from the Bridge.
Thank you for having me. But my manager told me this would be about the success of A View from the Bridge.
Your manager was correct. We are focusing on A View from a Bridge's success. Its success at being one of the worst soap operas of all time. Okay, for the viewers at home that have somehow not seen A View from the Bridge, it has taken place in the 1950s in the Red Hook neighborhood in Brooklyn, where the community is a delicate balance between American heritage and Italian heritage, as many of the people are Italian immigrants. A View from the Bridge also attempts to target a very real issue of the 1950s, which was the struggle of immigrants in the 1950s. Isn't that right?
That is correct, and I believe it plays into the main message of the show.
Hank, What do you believe is the main message of the show?
Well, I always believed that A View from the Bridge was about the grim existence that a man experiences when he focuses entirely on maintaining his reputation and image due to the absence of the American dream.
What specific examples do you have that makes you believe this?
Eddie's entire downfall comes from his calling the police on Marco and Rodolfo. The community hates him for it after Marco reveals to them that it was Eddie who broke the code of the community and betrayed not only them but the entire community.
I see. So ultimately, his betrayal of the two men causes Eddie to lose the respect of his neighbors, his friends, and his family, which he's unable to live with as his reputation is the only thing that he has.
Correct. This drives Eddie crazy, and when Marco finally approaches him to take vengeance, Eddie does not think of anything other than demanding that Marco give him back his name, and his recklessness in the attempt to gain his reputation leads to his death.
Fascinating. So based on what you said before about Eddie driving himself to his demise in attempts to gain back his reputation, that means Eddie being stabbed and killed by his own knife in the last scene is symbolic of Eddie's obsession with repairing his reputation, destroying him in the end.
Exactly. Eddie's mortal wound has been self-inflicted, not the effect of others attacking him like he wants to believe. And it is in the end scene that he is finally shown this, but unfortunately it is too late for him.
Why do you believe that reputation was so important to Eddie and the others?
Like you mentioned before, this story focuses on Italian immigrants who left their homes behind because they believed in the great American dream, where they would be able to make a life, high wages, and prestige. However, it was nothing more than a dream. For when immigrants came over, they were met with prejudices and stereotypes, which created a hostile environment in which the Italian American communities could not fully integrate. After being rejected from American society and given low-paying jobs, the Italian immigrants learned that they could only rely on each other, and they built communities around themselves with their own values.
And with their chance of achieving the American dream gone, far from home, and rejected by American society, you are proposing that the reputation among their close-knit community was the only thing they had and therefore valued it over everything else?
Correct. And it is the historical parallels and themes that I believe really bring the show to life.
Wow, it was very interesting to listen to your take on A View from the Bridge. Last question. When you first started working on A View from the Bridge, did you ever think that it would single-handedly kill your career and your reputation as an actor before it even could begin, due to the low budget, confusing editing, bad writing, and even worse acting?
Well,
looks like that's all the time we have today. Thank you again for tuning into Cancellation, where we dug deep into the moving themes in A View from the Bridge that no one paid attention to because they were too busy laughing. Once again, I am your host, Shelley Bling, and this was Cancellation.